Well, I'm back. I'm going to talk about the 2-year-olds because they were impressive yesterday. I went to them first. I want to talk about them. I did it by accident. I went at Christmas time when I gave the marks to every horse. I put them on this sheet. So every time I say their name, I can say what kind of mark I gave them at Christmas time and then see how they're going. I don't want to redo it just yet, but it's for me. I'll give you a little update. So, Adrenaline Rush, happy with him. My expectations are a little aren't low, but I need to see him come on a regular basis, and I see progression, but it's more of a baby step type of thing. Yesterday, when Kevin peeled off cover, he should have come forward and drove away, and instead kind of hung a little bit, right? But it's not the end of the world. He still did his work well. Here's a horse that wears nothing. Might wear a head pole. No boots, no nothing. I think he's going to be a fun little horse to race. Not a little horse, big horse, fun horse to race all season long. Argento was very good yesterday. Now, I've had some back and forth with one of our clients about Argento and staking in Kentucky, and here's my take. I know there may be horsemen out there that say Kentucky is a wonderful alternative to Pennsylvania. I couldn't disagree more. If your horse can't do in Pennsylvania, the Stallion Series goes for 20, right? If you want to go to the B Series in Kentucky, fine. Every horse foaled in Kentucky is eligible to the Kentucky program. Everyone. Every big breeder in North America, for the most part, has a satellite farm or a farm in Kentucky. I couldn't disagree more. Kentucky is a tough place to go. If you want your horses to go fast, great, send them to Kentucky. They'll all trot in 56. Doesn't mean you're going to make any money. And my take on this is extremely simple. If a horse like Argento can't do in the Sire Stakes and is just going to be a middle-of-the-road horse, bring him home. Race him in Ontario, where it's not going to cost us a fortune in Canadian funds to race the horse. Put 9 or 10 starts in him and turn him out. He's a nice horse, does his work well. He might be a killer, but at the same time, he might not. He might just be a really nice horse. Nothing wrong with having a nice horse. Any time where you can look at the end of your 2-year-old year and say, here's where I'm at, here's my break even, and they're even remotely close, you're having a pretty good year. And people are like, well, no, I want them to pay for themselves in the first year. Okay, great. Yeah, I want to drive a Maserati. I want to live in a castle. Love to have a couple of unicorns in the backyard. The reality of horse racing is that you are not going to turn profits at the end of the 2-year-old season. I would love it. It's just not going to happen. It happens for some horses. We know who they were. Oh, where's the 3-year-olds? I know that Spend That Money was probably close, right? Spirited Dio was probably close. We didn't give much for her. Here, I can go through them real quick. Canadian Titan, we gave 40-some thousand. She made 50. We lost on her a little bit. She's not broke even yet. There's still a little red ink there. Capistrano probably made a little bit. Compass Rose did. Don't Believe Me, Just Watch obviously did. I'm going to keep going. Globetrotting did, obviously. I'm to the G's, in case you're wondering. Miss Brampton Beast maybe made a little bit of money. Maybe. Close. I'm still going. To the S's. Spend That Money. Spirited Dio. Yes, I already said those. There you have it. Those are the horses that turned a profit as a 2-year-old. I mean, first and foremost, the stable.ca isn't set up for people to make huge profits at 2. It would be great if we all made money. We're all in it to have fun. We're all in it to have the same ride as one another. I'm your partner on a lot of horses, and I am certainly not upset with the fact that I have an ownership interest in Harness AM, Rose Run Versatile, Willpower Fashion, Bottle of Red. I mean, these are Arctic Force. These are nice horses that did not turn a profit at the end of their 2-year-old season. So, as far as, shooting for the stars, I think I've been even more frugal this year. I might be getting close to a line with the frugality of this year, but the simple analytics, and it was put to me, and I'll say Greg Schoner was the first one that said it. Johnny, all our analytical clients have said the same thing. We haven't made any money in the Grand Circuit, yet we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars staking to it. So I just need to be very careful about what I do. And when it comes to a horse like Argento, yeah, we haven't staked in PA, we haven't staked to a few other things. I'll make the first Kentucky payment. This was a sound argument. I'll make the first Kentucky payment because if you don't, you can't race in there 2 or 3. So we'll make that payment. But at the same time, I think being a little realistic on Argento and where he needs to go and where he needs to be for us to be happy. I think, as I said, it's as hard to manage people's expectations as it is to manage these horses sometimes. But Argento's a nice horse. We'll see how he makes out over the next month. Then we'll make a decision. Barbie's Crown is doing well. Now, I gave her an A+ at Christmas. She slid a little bit. She's got some things to overcome. We took a pile of weight off of her. We're going to have to put that back on. As you saw yesterday, she swung to the pace at the half. It's going to happen. It's just the way she's built. But she didn't do it from lameness. She just did it because it was her first training trip back, and she does need weight. Her gait necessitates weight. Rhymes. Ollie would like that. Barbie's Crown just needs a little weight put back on. No big deal. Beef and Cheddar, top of the food chain yesterday. He was fantastic. There was 2 pacers that shone above and beyond everybody else yesterday. And Beef and Cheddar, he knows Roy Hill out yesterday, not physically, but in popular vote. Beef and Cheddar was impressive. Braemar, very impressed with this colt. You can tell, you guys, I keep saying this and people say, well, he didn't beat Beef and Cheddar. He didn't beat Roy Hill. I mean, what was so impressive about him? He's immature. I don't mean mentally. He's smart. Physically, for the giant frame he has, he doesn't have enough muscle or meat on his bones. He's growing. He put weight on last week. He's putting muscle on. He's simply behind a little bit. James has done a great job managing him. He's a little bit aggressive yesterday, but we can add some equipment. Braemar will be manageable in the near future. So Braemar is a horse I gave an A+ to, and I'm going to stick to that. I really like this colt. I think between his breeding, between his gait, between his body, the way he looks, his mental acuity, and his work ethic, I'm sticking simply with an A+ easily because I love this horse. Brilliant Corners, a little bit of a work in progress, but we're getting there with him. This horse had OCDs out of his left hock. I thought he went a flat mile, and then I watched the video yesterday, and on the end of the 1.5 miles, he made a break. That is important in its own right. Why did he make a break at the end of the 1.5 miles? Can he go a 1.5 miles? Is it too much? Is his hock bothering him? Or did he just lose his footing and step off stride? I don't know. I'll probably go with Brilliant Corners this week to get a real good look at him. Broadway Roll was good. That was her first training trip back from when she had her sesamoid crowd. Now, I promised the caretaker I'd put her in a little easier this week. I just couldn't fit her in. We'll get her in a little softer spot next time. But Broadway Roll, certainly no concerns from me. Just a beautiful little filly doing her work rather well. Cambridge Star missed yesterday. He was a little bit sick. As I said to Jason, rule number 1 with Cambridge Star, do not let him come off his feed. He's too small. His feed. He's too small, and we need this horse to carry the proper amount of weight. So he was coughing a little bit last week and picking away at his feed. No training for him this week. Can't Deny My Spirit. 3 weeks. He's going to start jogging on Monday. We'd given him a week in the stall as opposed to the vet's recommendation of a month or a year, or wherever petting zoo he wanted us to move him to. There's nothing wrong with the horse. He had a little, what did he call it? He stopped short. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The horse will be fine. Little blistering, little jogging for 3 weeks. We'll ultrasound him a couple of times. I suspect he did it, hitting a combination of hitting and maybe being a little rowdy in the stall. But that's semantics. It's neither here nor there. At the end of the day, it's an easily treatable issue, and we'll have him back underway, full training, probably in the next 3-4 weeks. Camp Muscle Me made a break yesterday. She couldn't get a hold of the track. Now, the first set that went out, track was a little icy and snowy, and if the horses hadn't been shod soon, so here's how it is. If you get a horse shod, they get those fresh corks, and they're sharp, right? They got points on them. But after 3 weeks of walking on the cement, going in and out of the burn, jogging on the track, those points get dull. And now you just got 4 dots, 4 lumps on the shoes. They can't dig into that icy surface. So you could see she was struggling a bit yesterday. And I'll be going with her this week. We'll get her back underway. I think she's one of those horses you just have to have her head in the game. And people say, well, why don't you go with this horse and go with that horse? They don't always have to be at 105% all the time. Think about it. They do need some downtime. And if that means a couple of make a little break here and there or don't look as flashy, it's not the end of the world. We can turn them on. They're all doing their work proper right now for the most part. We can turn them on. I'm more looking for issues right now. Jazzy Judy, a little bit off left hind yesterday, just over on the right shaft. She could have been horsing. She could have been hitting. She might need shod. But you know what? She's done such a fantastic job the last 3 weeks. We're just going to back off with her and jog her for the next 2 weeks. She won't be in the next drone set, I can tell you that. But she'll be jogging every day. She went from just being a miserable cow some days to just being the sweetest horse in the world. So the caretaker's doing a great job, Donnie, and Jazzy Judy couldn't be better. So back to where we were, which was Can't Deny My Spirit, Can't Muscle Me, Captain's Maid. She was over on the left shaft a little bit. We knew this would happen. They took that OCD out of her right hind ankle. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve there. We did let her hobbles out. They probably need to come back in. And Harry is short a caretaker now. He'll be short 2 caretakers tomorrow, but 1 caretaker right now. So we may have to move some horses around. As of right now, he has Captain's Maid. I suspect the babies would be the easiest way to do it. He has Captain's Maid. He has, who's the other pacer? Surreal Love. We may move those back up top just for now. I want to leave Jesse Balboa with him because Jesse Balboa looked great yesterday, and I think he just needs a little softer touch. And Nelly, that works down in Harry's barn, just does a great job. So that horse will likely stay there. So Captain's Maid will probably go up top. Tomorrow, Carry Big Stick was good. Little mile and a half might have been a little much for him yesterday. It was his first training trip back. In the mile, he looked great. But when we got to that mile and a half portion of the race, it might have been a little much for him. So it's simple. I was sitting behind him, and that's how I felt. So we're just going to back him off, only train him a mile for the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, and get him back in the routine. So I was happy with him. Cut the Line looked fantastic yesterday. Darling Please, I made a little break finishing up. I might go with her Wednesday and see what's up with her. Desperado was great again. Beef and Cheddar just flat out put it on me. And I love Desperado, but he was beat fair and square by Beef and Cheddar yesterday. Beef and Cheddar, I think, is a talented colt. So funny looking at the pedigree of this horse. Now, I thought Need Your Opinion maybe was a fluke. This is her half brother, and he can fly also so far. So I don't know what it is, Matt, but I don't know what happened to that pedigree, but these 2 horses both can go. Where are we at? Desperado. Eternity Road made his first, I guess, mediocre performance yesterday. Made a break in the snowy far turn, and precipitated that 2 top 10 lists. I couldn't put him on the top 10 for yesterday, but I could not have him on the top of a top 10 list. So now we have top 10 from this week, top 10 overall. And Eternity Road still top of the heap. First Glance was fantastic yesterday. Fox Valley Britska. I told you my Kung Fu was better than his. He's been an ignorant little bugger since day one. And we put the gear on him, put a brain cord on him, put trot and hobbles on him. Now he can't be rude like he was before. And James said yesterday, I think we win. I think we won. He's behaved. And you can see that because yesterday he ran right into the back of me during the train mount, which is important. Usually when horses do that, they'll make a break, especially trotters. Nope, he ran right up on top of my helmet and never made a break, stayed right at it, finished up strong, starting to look like a nice horse. It's exactly why we go and we treat our horses on a case-by-case basis. Look how bad Fox Valley Britska looked December and January. Look how good he looks right now. Frilly Fringes was fantastic. Again, I said to Amy, laying on her head pole a little bit. I took it off her all week. In fact, I told Wayne to take it off her all week. And I think maybe we should have left it on. We're going to add a Murphy blind on the left also. She is one powerful filly. Really, really impressed with her. So you can only imagine how impressed I am with the other filly that actually probably did beat her nose at the wire. I'm a Lovely Lady. Girls with Swirls was good. I had an email about Girls with Swirls. The gentleman was concerned that she was not being worked hard enough. And not in a rude way, very polite way. But at the same time, I explained to him that she is by Angus Hall, and I do not want to awaken that gene. For those of you that are horsemen that have had Angus Halls, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They can be the rudest horses on earth if they want to be. Girls with Swirls is doing everything right. I did go with her a few weeks ago. I thought she went okay. She trots good. She does her work well. Just leave her alone for now. We'll start pushing when we have to push. For right now, she does her work well, and she's behaved. Don't poke the bear. Gray is a New Red. This is a filly. We paid her into the Next Generation stake. You guys may have seen the updated invoice. I know one of our clients didn't agree and sold his share. But, to be honest, they are racing in Ohio. We do good in Ohio. We haven't done great with the Pacers, but we haven't really focused on them or had a lot of luck with the Pacers. I'm looking at Roy Hill, Desperado, Gray is a New Red, Well and Down. These are horses that can all pace really hard. And I love Roy Hill. We paid him into the Next Generation stake. I love Gray is a New Red. Paid her into the Next Generation stake. She missed yesterday because she was a little sick, but she's been fantastic all year. GW Chrome was very, very good yesterday. Mario just asked for a little bit too much. Need to throttle him back and get him under control. We all know how fast he is. Speed's no problem. Now you need to let him have some confidence in his trotting. So GW Chrome made a little break yesterday, but he got an MX. That was a Mario break. that wasn't a GW Chrome break. Not a big deal. It happens. It's not the end of the world. And just as an aside, for those of you out there that were complaining about Mario driving, or he's too old, or he's too this, or he's too that, you may want to have a look at the Woodbine stats for this year. Mario Bergeron is crushing it in Ontario. You can't tell me that a guy with that many wins and that much money made, unless he has a stroke, he's not going to forget how to get to the winner's circle. So congratulations to Mario on the 2020 year he's having, and the year he's having with the barn. Although we haven't started a lot of horses yet, they will be soon. Holy Chick has been good, finished up strong yesterday. We were smoking on the end of it. If she had beat us on the end of the mile yesterday, Seabiscuit couldn't have went by Frilly Fringes and I'm a Lovely Lady as hard as they were trotting down the lane yesterday. And Holy Chick stayed right with them. Might have gained a little bit, and every inch she gained on those two of finishing up is a feather in her cap. We were smoking. Italian Grit, I'm going to go with him this week. Mario went with him Wednesday, looked fine. Made a little break yesterday, but was not knuckling over and looked more comfortable with the hobbles on. So Mario did a great job with him. I want to see what he looks like Wednesday. I'm going to light him up on Wednesday and see how he goes. Aglariam, just incredible yesterday. All we did with this filly was put the same shoes on her the same way we had on White Tiger. They have similar gaits. They interfered in similar ways, and it worked so well on White Tiger. We switched Aglariam over. What a difference. So for the people that bought into your shares this week of Aglariam, good job. Nice filly. Andrew, I hope it works out for you. I hate when people ask me what to do. I had given our client, he had called, he had sold shares in one horse and said, where should I look? I kind of bit my lip and I said, I'm leaning Aglariam. And for Andrew, I think you should be happy the way she looked yesterday. It just looked tremendous. I'm a Lovely Lady. Couldn't look any better than she looked yesterday. Probably one of the most underappreciated horses in the barn. She was flying. When Mario got right up beside me and fair as fair, went by me by a nose at the wire, we couldn't be trotting any harder. And I was certain when he got to the turn. I even said to him, I said, hey, good luck with the turn. And he got to the turn. She trotted right through the turn. I couldn't believe it. So I'm a Lovely Lady. Yesterday, even she had my respect, she had my attention, but after yesterday, even more so. I'm Hill on Wheels. My 2 cents, he had the hobbles a little long on him yesterday, but he made a break where a lot of horses did in that slippery snow, so it may just have been the snow. Jazzy Judy was great again. My God, I think I fell in love with this filly over the last 2 weeks. I love horses that had, and I said this yesterday, it was a reference to, I guess, MMA. I heard them saying it, where they just bite down on the mouth guard and take it. Jazzy Judy, she's a warrior. And yesterday she was not great. She was not lame or anything like that. No concerns, but she was not great. And, when push came to shove and it was time to train and as soon as I turned her to go the right way and she saw the other horses, she let go of the bit. She straightened up. When I was jogging her around, she was on the left line a bit. And I said, geez, we got to get her mouth looked at. She's a little grabby in the face. And then as I turned her into train, it all went away. That's a good horse. And Jazzy Judy might be by Political Briefing, might be an obscure sire out of an old mare with old bloodlines. She's tough. And I truly believe I might have fallen in love with this filly over the last 2 weeks. Jesse Balboa was great yesterday. That was his first training trip in a month, maybe more. Took the hobbles, took everything off him. Take a close look at how he trained. Open bridle, head between his legs, bell boots, bandages behind. Jesse Balboa was great. James said, geez, this is a nice horse. What has he been? And this is the horse that had, so when I was gone away, Danny said he made a noise training. They scoped him, and he had a little ulcer on his totally different from the Forged in Fire episode of last year. Their palate, their epiglottis is supposed to be like a V, apparently, and his is like a U. So they had to trim the sides because it was irritating the sides of his throat. So they trimmed the sides. So he just gave him 2-3 weeks. Yesterday was the first trip. James went and said, geez, he's a nice horse. Jesse Balboa is a little sweetheart. And there's a horse that went from a dirty little bugger. We castrated him to now just a sweetheart on the track. Jesse Balboa looked good. Now you won't see him flash like clear to the front and go a big mile. It's his first mile in a month. Go back and look at his mile. Look at how nice he trots. Look at how comfortable and composed he is. Really impressed with Jesse Balboa. Keystone Raven's coming around. I told you guys this was a filly. No cookie cutter here. I always jog the horses with the hobbles on. I want them jogging that way. But this filly, open bridle, no head check, no hobbles all week. She goofs around a little bit, but as sharp as a tack, and her attitude has come full circle. Now she wants to get at it and do her work. I've been waiting for this. James said Keystone Raven, huge difference over the last month, her coming forward. Really happy with that. Let's Roll On was a little bumpy yesterday, but comfortably bumpy. He was comfort in his bumps yesterday. He's just a big colt. He's got to grow, but he's doing it. And I was very, very... When they get their ears up and they're doing their work, they've found somewhat of a comfort zone, and that's what I saw from Let's Roll On yesterday. Lincoln Hanover was much better. Again, another horse we backed off with. Took a little gentler approach to Lincoln Hanover because we know his knees bother him, his feet probably bother him. Mario and Deb have done a tremendous job with Lincoln Hanover. Miss Meringue was good. Hard to tell. She was third, beat a little bit. She had flip-flops on yesterday. Plus, we were flying on the end of the mile. Every time I go with Miss Meringue, I'm like, this is the horse we bought. This is what we were supposed to look like. And then when somebody else goes there, now James likes her and says she's good. I thought she was fantastic every time I went with her. No concerns here. Miss Meringue looks good. Mama Knows Best looks real good. And Mika had called me yesterday to congratulate me on how good she looked. Jason loves Mama Knows Best. You don't like Mama, you just don't like horses. She does everything right. She's just a sweetheart. Momo was great again yesterday, pacing hard on the end of the mile. My Jazz might have made a little break. I don't think she was thought out that good. Made a little break in the first turn in the snow and then won the set and looked very, very good. Another highly underappreciated, and my MVP in the barn is My Jazz. No Free Lunch was pretty good yesterday. Danny was just kind of holding them back going down the lane. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but I thought No Free Lunch looked great. Northern Blizzard made a couple of breaks. Danny wanted to make some changes. I said, you know what? Go ahead. The horse has been fast enough and done more than enough. Even if I don't like the way he's hung up when you're done playing with him, we can always change it back. And Northern Blizzard's a giant. You guys don't see how big this horse is on the track, but he does everything right. Really, really impressed with him. Off-Road Hanover. Amy fell in love with him when I was away. She went with him again yesterday. She really, really likes that horse. Perfect Record, I think, is just going through a growth spurt. Steve went with him yesterday, said he just made a little break in the snow. Not a big deal. I'm not concerned with it at all. My only concern with him is the girls in the barn are saying he's starting to get a little stutty. So there's going to be a hard line for him to get castrated if we castrate him. I haven't pulled the trigger yet and won't until we have to. We've come this far, and I want to leave him like that intact, but if we have to castrate him, I will. We're just not there yet. Rito Sunshine had the week off. Little sick. This horse has been sick 4 or 5 times. It's been his Achilles heel. And I said to Harry, you know what, just leave him alone. Treat him for sickness. Go easy with him. When you think he's healthy, that's when we'll begin training him again. And that's where we're at with Rito Sunshine. You are gone. Rose Run Why Not was fantastic yesterday. Get up and beat me with Jazzy Judy, I believe, at the wire, but showed how tough she was. I told you guys this filly's no joke, and she was very, very good yesterday. Round Midnight's coming around. Went from a D. Let's go from a D to a D plus on him. Aggravates me, but at the same time, he's here. He's training. We'll see how he ends up. This guy's good. Roy Hill, A+, gonna stay that way for a while. What about the move I put on them? He moves like a little cat, yet he's a giant. The move I put on them down the backstretch, I just went from the rail, whistled them out 3 wide, moved around them just like a racehorse, and then he grabbed his shoe down by the wire. I'm not really that worried about that. Roy Hill was very, very good yesterday. Set the Mood, another horse we just backed off with for a few weeks. He's not the soundest horse. His knees bother him, his feet bother him, but he's game. He knows what his work is. Let him do it. If he's a little sore, no training this week. No training next week. Just jog him until he's sound. So Admirable, maybe one of her best training trips yesterday, looked really, really good. Source Blue Chip looked very good, starting to look good, this colt, and do his work rather, rather well. You can see he's still a little stiff. I think that's just the corks. When they come off, I think we'll see our best races out of Source, our best training trips. Hopefully races also at a Source Blue Chip. Stacy Hanover broke her hobbles yesterday. Little bumpy. She doesn't like the slick surfaces. I think she's due to be shod. We're going to make a little shoeing change on her, but Stacy's ready to get at it. She seems like she's always ready to get at it. So I'll go with her on Wednesday after we made the changes and see how she is. Sunshine in May. She's got to have mouth on her like an alligator. Kevin moved her and I see him seesawing her. She's just a little tiny horse, yet she's fighting the whole time. She's a fighter and she wants to go 12 rounds, that's for sure. So Sunshine in May got a lot of experience yesterday. I think once we got her under control and got her to relax, sit in a hole, she'll be just fine. Surreal Love finished up strong yesterday and looked good. Harry's done a great job with him. Sweet Ambitions, a little flat yesterday, but trotting good. She got a little heel scratch in her right hind ankle. I think that probably plays a role in that. Tanzanite Tricks was okay yesterday. Danny said she was a little bumpy in turns. First time Danny ever went with her. He said, but she did her work rather well. That's My Girl looked good yesterday also. Danny went with her. What about the Fat Cobra? I didn't get the win photo yet, but he put it on them yesterday. For those of you who are astute and have a good set of eyes, those were go straights. The back overhead on. He picks at his knees on that half-mile track, but I also wear razor pads on him, which would have made it incredibly difficult for him to do his work yesterday. So rather than just hope he didn't get into his knees, we just put a set of go straights on him. And I don't really care if he wears go straights or hula hoop around his head, as long as he does his work well. Fat Cobra, big learning adjustment yesterday for him, and he took full advantage of the equipment we had on him and trained very, very well. Tipsy and Dixie, go back and look at her mile. This filly is coming on strong. Another good training week for Tipsy and Dixie. Walk on the Moon was good. Now, 2 weeks ago, he got a little foot sore, so we backed off with him. Mario said he was good again yesterday. Warwe was up, was good. He just can't sprint with, he couldn't yesterday anyway with Desperado. I love him. I think he can sprint. I shouldn't say that. But with Mario yesterday, as soon as I cleared with Desperado, Danny came with Beef and Cheddar. There isn't a horse in the training center can sprint with Beef and Cheddar. I have a lot of respect for Desperado. He flat out paced around me yesterday in half of a straightaway. Went from behind me to in front of me, and we were going as fast as we could. So impressed with him. Warwe was up. I think maybe if Mario kept him in gear, it would have been a three-way battle, but when you let it, he's just got to learn. Anyway, I'm always very, very happy with Warwe was up. Warwe welcome, had the week off. A little sick this week. No big deal. We gave her a week off. Well and Down was very good. That was a tough set for her, and she looked very, very good. And Won My Heart Hanover. Our girl was very good yesterday. I didn't even turn my whip around. So it was cold. I just had my hands kind of through the handholds and got away in the front, let one go, sat behind, cut the line, and then when I moved her over the head of the lane, this is what I love about this filly. She didn't just trot by her. She sprinted by her, obliterated her, and drove away, and that's what I want to see. And somebody might say, well, why don't you finish together? I want horses that can win. You're going to get beat. Everybody gets beat. It's not the end of the world. Just don't cut the line on the front with Won My Heart Hanover behind you next week. Just, we can change the way we train our horses, but I have no interest in just finishing together and making sure they're happy. There are winners, there are losers. I know it's the 21st century and everybody's supposed to play together and get participation medals, and no one's supposed to win and no one really loses. That's not the reality of it. There's winners and there's losers. So there's nothing wrong with being defeated. It's what you do next week. So that is all the 2-year-olds. That's a long video too. Long-winded today. I guess I shouldn't get up at 7 o'clock and had a latte. But nevertheless, you're informed now. If there's anything else you need to know about the 2-year-olds, there shouldn't be, but if there is, drop me a line. Talk to you guys soon.